In Umuagu, wealth arrived too quickly and silence grew too deep. When a poor village hunter stumbles upon
Who
a
are you and
secret
where do you
guarded by
come from?
masquerades
Show
older
yourself
than memory,
now.
he learns that some fortunes are fed by human years and buried bones. Cast out by his own people, he must choose between survival and truth. This is a story of Igbo mysticism, moral courage, and the terrible price of seeing what others refuse to see. We are poised to give you the best of African stories. Please, kindly do well to help us grow this channel so as to give you best at all times. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Let's dive in. The hunter who saw too much. The forest around Umuagu village had a way of breathing. Not the kind that soothed you. The kind that reminded you that something older than man was awake. Obinna Okiri knew this forest better than any living soul. He had walked its paths since boyhood, learned its moods, memorized the sound each leaf made when stepped on by deer, by python, by something that did not want to be seen. The elders used to say the forest accepted him the way a river accepts a stone thrown into it. Without question. Without complaint. That morning, Obinna rose before the cock crowed. The air was heavy, thick with harmattan dust and the sour smell of something long dead. His mother, Mwanioma, stirred on the raffia mat behind him. "You're going too early," she murmured without opening her eyes. "The antelope moves before dawn," Obinna replied, tying the leather strap across his chest. His voice was low, respectful. "And meat has become scarce." She sighed. "It is not hunger I fear. It is the forest these days. It listens too much." Obinna paused. The old women had been saying that a lot lately. That the trees leaned closer when people spoke. That footsteps followed them home at night. He dismissed it with a nod and stepped outside. Umuagu village lay quiet under the pale sky. Mud houses crouched like tired elders. Smoke rose thinly from a few hearths. At the far end of the village stood the new building. Tall. Painted cream and gold. It did not belong. Chief Odumagu Ikena's mansion. It had appeared in Umuagu barely 2 seasons ago, rising faster than bamboo after rain. No one remembered seeing laborers arrive. No one heard hammers at night. 1 week there was bush. The next, a mansion with iron gates shaped like coiled snakes. The chief himself was a puzzle. He came with money that never ended. He paid school fees for children who were not his. He rebuilt the shrine of Amadioha without asking the elders. He gave palm wine to the men and wrappers to their wives. And yet, no one ever remembered seeing him eat. Obinna avoided looking at the mansion as he passed. He did not like the way its windows reflected no light. The forest swallowed him soon enough. Inside, the world changed. The air cooled. Sounds sharpened. Obinna moved silently, his Dane gun steady, his senses open. He tracked fresh prints. Too fresh. He followed them deeper than usual. Past the Irako tree that marked the boundary where hunters turned back. Past the stream where sacrifices were once made to Allah, before the new church forbade it. Something was wrong. The birds had gone quiet. Obinna stopped. His skin prickled. He crouched behind a fallen log and listened. There was breathing ahead. Heavy. Labored. Not animal. A groan followed. Human. Obinna moved closer, each step careful. He parted the leaves and froze. A man lay on the forest floor. Naked. His skin was pale, stretched tight as if pulled from inside. His eyes were wide, unblinking, filled with terror. Symbols had been carved into his chest. Fresh. Still bleeding. Obinna recognized him. Chikwudi. One of Chief Ikena's houseboys. Before Obinna could speak, the man's mouth opened. "He is not human," Chikwudi whispered. Then his body jerked violently. His back arched. His bones cracked, one after the other, as if something inside him was folding itself away. His mouth opened wider than it should have. A sound escaped him that was not human at all. Obinna stumbled back, heart pounding. The forest shook. Leaves rustled wildly. The ground vibrated. From the shadows emerged figures. Tall. Draped in raffia and red cloth. Masks carved with faces that twisted between rage and laughter. Masquerades. Not the kind danced during festivals. These ones did not move to drums. They floated. Obinna's blood ran cold. He had heard stories of the Muo masquerades. Spirits that guarded secrets meant to remain buried. They were not meant to be seen by living men. One stepped forward. Its eyes glowed faintly behind the mask. "You have seen," it said. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Obinna dropped to his knees. His gun slipped from his hand. "I did not come looking," he said, forcing the words out. "I swear it by Allah and by my mother's womb." Another masquerade circled him slowly. "The forest does not show what it does not wish," it replied. "You were led." A third pointed toward Chikuti's lifeless body. That one gave his blood willingly. He wanted wealth without price. Obinna's stomach twisted. "Chief Ikenna." The masquerade stiffened. "The one who wears flesh," the first said. "The one who drinks years and spits out gold." Obinna felt bile rise in his throat. Memories flooded him. Men who vanished after working for the chief. Women whose bellies swelled with unexplained wealth, then shrank with unexplained death. Cows found drained of blood near the mansion. "I want no part in this," Obinna said. "Let me go. I will say nothing." Silence stretched. Then the masquerade closest to him leaned in. "You cannot unsee," it said softly. "And he will know." A sharp pain exploded in Obinna's chest. He gasped as something burned against his skin. When the pain faded, he tore open his shirt. A mark had appeared over his heart. A symbol shaped like a broken circle. "The mark of the witness," the masquerade said. "Now he will hunt you." Before Obinna could scream, the forest lurched. The masquerades vanished as if swallowed by mist. The trees stilled. Birds resumed singing, too cheerfully. Chikuti's body was gone. Obinna staggered to his feet, trembling. He ran. He did not stop until Umuagu appeared through the trees. By the time he reached the village square, people were gathering. Chief Ikenna had arrived. He stood tall, dressed in white, smiling that perfect smile. His eyes scanned the crowd. When they landed on Obinna, they lingered. Just a fraction too long. Chief Ikenna smiled wider. Obinna knew then. The hunt had begun. By the next sunrise, Umuagu no longer felt like home. Obinna sensed it before anyone spoke to him. It was in the way greetings stalled halfway on people's lips. In how doors closed softly but firmly as he passed. In the silence that followed his footsteps, as though the ground itself warned others to keep their distance. He had not slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Chikuti's body folding in on itself. Heard bones snapping like dry firewood. Saw masquerade eyes glowing from behind carved wood. And worse, he felt it. The mark over his heart burned faintly, as if reminding him that something unseen had tied a rope around his soul. He washed at the stream before dawn. As he bent over the water, his reflection wavered. For a moment, the face staring back at him was not his own. The eyes were older. Hollow. Watching. Obinna staggered back. "Pull yourself together," he muttered. When he returned to the compound, his mother sat grinding ugbono seeds. She looked up and froze. "What happened to you?" Mwanioma asked. Obinna hesitated. The truth pressed against his teeth, begging to escape. But the masquerade's voice echoed in his head. You cannot unsee. And he will know. Nothing, he said too quickly. The forest was restless. She studied him for a long time. Then she shook her head. Go to the square, she said. The chief called a meeting. Obina's chest tightened. The village square buzzed with murmurs when he arrived. Men stood in clusters. Women whispered behind cupped hands. Children clung to their mothers' wrappers. At the center, beneath the ancient Udara tree, sat Chief Umuagu Ikena. He looked radiant. His skin glowed like polished wood. Coral beads rested against his chest. Two men fanned him though the air was cool. Beside him lay a calabash of cola nuts and a bottle of schnapps unopened. Obina felt the mark over his heart throb. The chief rose as Obina approached. My people, Chief Ikena said warmly, spreading his arms. Umuagu is blessed. Blessed beyond measure. A low murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. But blessings attract envy, the chief continued. They attract disturbance. They attract imbalance. His eyes slid to Obina. Obina felt heat creep up his neck. Last night, the chief said calmly, something dark passed through our forest. A spirit disturbed. A covenant tested. The elders shifted uneasily. Old Matsi Okafor cleared his throat. Chief, he said carefully, what spirit? Chief Ikena smiled. That is what we must find out. He gestured gently toward Obina. This hunter returned from the forest before dawn, he said. Shaken. Changed. All eyes turned. Obina's mouth went dry. I hunted, he said. I saw nothing meant for me. The chief chuckled softly. Nothing meant for you, he repeated. Yet the forest marked you. A gasp rose from the crowd. How does he know? Someone whispered. Obina felt trapped. The mark burned hotter, as if reacting to the chief's gaze. Chief Ikena stepped closer. Open your chest, he said gently. Let the elders see. No, Obina replied, his voice cracking. The chief's smile did not fade. Do you refuse the elders? He asked, tilting his head. Silence fell heavy. Refusal meant guilt. Refusal meant defiance of tradition. Two men stepped forward. Obina backed away instinctively. Obina, his mother cried from the crowd. Do it. Let them see. His hands trembled as he untied the strap of his shirt. Slowly, he pulled the cloth aside. The symbol over his heart glowed faintly, like embers beneath ash. The square erupted. A curse, a woman screamed. A Joe Muo mark, another shouted. Death mark, someone said. The elders recoiled. Matsi Okafor crossed himself and muttered a prayer to Allah. Chief Ikena sighed deeply, as though burdened. This mark, he said, belongs to witnesses of forbidden rites. Those who spy on powers not meant for human eyes. That is a lie, Obina shouted. You know what you are. The words flew out before he could stop them. A sharp intake of breath swept through the square. The chief's eyes hardened for the first time. What did you say, Hunter? He asked softly. Obina felt the weight of the village pressing in. Fear warred with something else inside him. Rage. Resolve. You are not human, Obina said, louder now. The forest knows it. The masquerades know it. The square went deathly still. Then laughter exploded. Not from the villagers. From Chief Ikena. Deep. Rich. Mocking. Listen to him, the chief said, shaking his head. The mark speaks through his mouth. He turned to the elders. Umuagu cannot afford madness, he said. A marked man brings disaster. Already, chickens have died. Children cry at night. Crops rot in the soil. Murmurs of fear spread quickly. People nodded. Some stepped farther away from Obinna. Exile him, someone shouted. Yes, another agreed. Before the spirits grow angry. Obinna's heart sank. His mother pushed through the crowd, tears streaking her face. My son is not evil, she cried. He has hunted for you all since his father died. He has never stolen. Never lied. Chief Ikenna looked at her kindly. Mother, he said, sometimes the cleanest hands are chosen to carry the dirtiest burden. He raised his voice. Let him leave Umuagu until the next full moon, he declared. If the land heals, we will know the truth. Exile. The word hit Obinna like a blade. 2 men grabbed his arms. Please, Obinna said, struggling. He is lying. He feeds on you. On your years. On your blood. The chief leaned close enough that only Obinna could hear. You should not have looked, he whispered. For a split second, the chief's eyes flickered. Not human eyes. Something deep and endless stared back. Then it was gone. Obinna was dragged to the edge of the village. His mother collapsed, wailing. No one moved to help her. Go, the men said, shoving him. Before sunset. Obinna stumbled into the path leading back to the forest. Behind him, Umuagu turned away. As he crossed the boundary marked by stones and old palm fronds, the air shifted. The forest closed in around him. From the shadows, a familiar rustling rose. Raffia brushed bark. Masks emerged. The masquerades stood waiting. You are alone now, one said. Obinna straightened, fear clawing at him, but something firmer rose beneath it. Then teach me, he said. Because I will not run. The forest fell silent. And for the first time since the hunt began, the spirits listened. The forest did not welcome Obinna. It tested him. By nightfall, the path he thought he knew twisted into unfamiliar curves. Trees leaned where they never had. Roots rose like traps beneath his feet. The wind carried whispers that called his name in voices he recognized and voices he did not. Obinna walked anyway. Hunger gnawed at him, but worse was the weight inside his chest. The mark burned hotter with every step, as if the forest itself pressed questions against his heart. You asked to be taught, a voice said. Obinna stopped. He did not turn. I am here, he replied. The masquerades emerged slowly. 3 of them. Then 5. Then more, stepping from behind trees, from within shadows that should not have held bodies. Their raffia brushed the earth without sound. You are brave, said the one with a cracked, sorrowful mask. Or foolish. I don't care which, Obinna said. I will not let him destroy my people. A low hum passed through the spirits. Understand this, another said. The one you call chief is older than Umuagu. Older than your god's current names. Obinna swallowed. What is he? The masquerades shifted. Their movements were uneasy. A feeder, the first replied. A wearer of skins. He arrives where hunger lives. Where envy opens doors. Images flooded Obinna's mind. Villages rising and falling. Men growing wealthy overnight, then dying young. Children born weak. Rivers drying without cause. He drinks life, the masquerade continued. Years. Ambition. Blood when needed. He builds kingdoms on borrowed time. Obinna clenched his fists. Then why let him stay? Silence. Finally, one spoke. Because he is clever. And because humans invite him. The forest darkened. The masquerades are bound, another said. We guard balance. We cannot strike unless invited by human courage. Obinna laughed bitterly. So you watch while he feeds. We watch, the spirit replied evenly. And we remember. Obinna stepped forward. Then mark me again. Bind me. Do whatever you must. But I will stop him. The masquerade studied him. Their eyes glowed brighter. You would give your life. If that is the cost. You would give more, the sorrowful mask said. Your name. Your place among the living. Obinna hesitated. He thought of his mother's hands. Calloused. Gentle. He thought of Umuagu's children chasing goats across red earth. He thought of Chikwuti's final words. He is not human. I will pay, Obinna said quietly. The forest exhaled. Then listen, the masquerade said. To kill a feeder is impossible. Obinna's heart sank. But to starve him, it continued, is not. The spirits formed a circle around him. The air thickened. The ground beneath Obinna's feet pulsed like a heartbeat. He feeds on secrecy, the spirit said. On silence. On the willingness of humans to trade tomorrow for today. Images appeared in the air. Chief Ikena at night, standing before a hidden shrine beneath his mansion. A pit lined with bones. A calabash filled with dark liquid that steamed like breath. He must perform a renewal during the next new moon, the masquerade said. A masquerade rite twisted to his purpose. Obinna stiffened. Masquerades dance only for the ancestors. He has bound one, the spirit replied. A corrupted masquerade. A hollow shell. The forest groaned softly. To starve him, the spirit continued, the ritual must be interrupted. Not with force. With truth. Obinna frowned. The village won't listen. They will, said the masquerade. When fear outweighs greed. The sorrowful mask stepped closer. But the interruption requires a witness to stand within the ritual circle. One marked. One visible to him. Obinna felt the mark flare painfully. He will kill you, Obinna said. Yes, the spirit replied. Slowly. Obinna closed his eyes. I accept. The masquerades raised their hands. The forest responded. Roots tore free from the ground and wrapped gently around Obinna's wrists. Pain lanced through him as the mark over his heart split open, then sealed again, darker and deeper. Symbols spread across his chest and back. Not cuts. Burns. You will be seen, the spirit said. By the living and the dead. Obinna screamed. When the pain faded, he collapsed to his knees, gasping. The masquerade stepped back. You will return to Umuagu before the new moon, the sorrowful one said. You will not hide. You will not flee. What of my mother? Obinna whispered. A pause. She will be protected, the spirit said. For now. The forest shifted. The masquerades began to dissolve into mist. One more thing, Obinna called out. They paused. Why me? The cracked mask turned slowly. Because you did not ask for wealth, it said. You asked for truth. The forest swallowed them. Obinna lay there until night deepened. When he finally rose, he felt different. Heavier. As if the earth recognized him and would not let him go easily. He followed a path that had not existed before. It led not deeper into the forest, but toward the edge of Umuagu. Toward the mansion. As he approached the village boundary, drums began to sound. Not festival drums. Masquerade drums. And beneath the rhythm, Obinna heard something else. Laughter. Chief Ikena's. The new moon was coming. The drums began 3 nights before the new moon. They were not loud at first. Just a low, crawling rhythm that slid under doors and into dreams. In Umuagu, People woke with sweat-soaked mats and the taste of metal in their mouths. Chickens refused to roost. Dogs whimpered and dug holes they would not sleep in. Obinna stood at the edge of the forest and listened. The mark on his chest pulsed in time with the drums. By the second night, the village square was transformed. Torches burned where none had been lit before. Red cloth hung from trees. The elders gathered, uneasy but obedient. Chief Umuagu Ikena moved among them like a generous god, smiling, reassuring, promising protection. "This is a cleansing," he said. "The land must be renewed." No one asked why the cleansing required secrecy. No one asked why the shrine beneath his mansion glowed at night. Obinna watched from the shadows. He did not hide. The masquerades had forbidden it. His presence pressed against the village like a truth people refused to name. When he stepped into the square on the third night, conversation died. Children gasped. Women pulled their wrappers tighter. Men looked away. "You came back," someone whispered. Obinna's mother saw him first. She ran. "My son," she cried, clutching him. "They said you vanished into madness." "I came to end this," Obinna said softly, holding her close. "No matter what you hear, do not step into the circle." Tears streamed down her face. "What circle?" The drums answered. From the far end of the square, something emerged. It wore the shape of a masquerade, but it was wrong. Its raffia was blackened, stiff, clotted with old blood. Its mask was cracked down the middle, one half smiling, the other screaming. Where its feet touched the earth, the ground smoked faintly. The crowd recoiled. "That is not ours," an elder whispered. Chief Ikena clapped once. The drums surged. "Behold," he announced, his voice carrying unnaturally far. "The guardian of Umuagu." The corrupted masquerade began to dance. Its movements were jerky, painful, as though something inside it resisted each step. Yet the rhythm dragged itself forward, pulling the air tight, making breathing difficult. Obinna felt his vision blur. This was the renewal. He felt the masquerades of the forest watching. Waiting. The ritual circle was drawn in white chalk and ash. Bones marked the four directions. At the center lay a calabash, sealed with wax and hair. Chief Ikena stepped forward, removing his coral beads. His voice changed. It deepened. Thickened. "Years for gold," he intoned. "Silence for safety." The crowd swayed. Obinna's heart thundered. This was the moment. He stepped into the circle. A scream tore from the villagers. The drums faltered. Chief Ikena turned slowly. "So," he said. "You chose to die publicly." Obinna met his gaze. The mark on his chest burned like fire. "I choose to speak," Obinna replied. The chief laughed. The sound peeled back layers of the night. "You think truth feeds people?" he asked. "Fear feeds better." The corrupted masquerade convulsed. Its head snapped toward Obinna. "Witness," it hissed. Obinna raised his voice. "You come here because you are afraid to be poor," he shouted to the crowd. "You trade tomorrow for today. You trade your children's years for money you cannot carry into the grave." The air vibrated. Chief Ikena's smile vanished. "Silence him," he commanded. The masquerade lunged. Pain exploded through Obinna's body as invisible force crushed his ribs. He fell to one knee, gasping. Blood filled his mouth. Still, he spoke. "He feeds on your silence," Obinna cried. "Look at him. He does not age because you do." The torches flickered wildly. Chief Ikena roared. His skin rippled. The illusion fell away. Before the villagers' eyes, his body stretched unnaturally tall. His limbs bent at wrong angles. His face peeled back to reveal something ancient beneath. Something hungry. Women screamed. Elders collapsed. The corrupted masquerade shrieked and tore at its own raffia, trying to escape its binding. You should not have shown them, the feeder snarled. Obinna felt his strength draining. His vision dimmed. The forest masquerades appeared at the edge of the square, visible now to all. Tall. Silent. Terrible. They did not intervene. This was Obinna's sacrifice. With trembling hands, Obinna crawled to the calabash. He smashed it open. Darkness poured out like smoke. The feeder howled. No, it screamed. You break the covenant. I end it, Obinna whispered. The drums stopped. The corrupted masquerade collapsed, its mask splitting apart to reveal nothing inside. Chief Ikenna staggered. His body began to crack, drying, shrinking, like a river without rain. But Obinna collapsed too. The ground rushed up to meet him. As darkness closed in, he felt the forest breathe one last time around him. And then, silence. Silence ruled Umuagu for 3 days. Not the ordinary silence of dawn before roosters crow, or the respectful quiet of morning. This silence pressed down like a held breath. No drum sounded. No laughter rose. Even the wind seemed to pass the village without stopping. At the center of the square lay 2 bodies. One was no longer human enough to be recognized. The thing that had worn the name Chief Umuagu Ikenna had collapsed inward on itself, shriveled like a husk left too long in the sun. Its skin had hardened into something like bark. Its eyes were empty pits. Ants refused to touch it. Vultures circled but never landed. The other body was Obinna Okari's. He lay where he had fallen, inside the broken ritual circle. His chest was still. The markings burned into his skin had faded to pale scars, as if the fire that made them had gone elsewhere. Blood stained the earth beneath him, but his face was calm. Almost peaceful. No one touched him. They were afraid. On the 4th morning, Mwanioma rose before the sun. She wrapped herself in plain black cloth and walked into the square alone. Her back was straight. Her steps were steady. She knelt beside her son. My child, she said softly. You always did what others were afraid to do. She placed her hand on his chest. Warmth. She froze. Slowly, trembling, she leaned closer. She pressed her ear against him. A heartbeat. Weak. But there. Her cry tore through the village like thunder. He lives, she screamed. My son lives. People poured from their houses. Elders rushed forward. Women fell to their knees. Someone brought water. Someone else brought herbs. No one argued. No one questioned. They lifted Obinna carefully and carried him to his mother's hut. That night, rain fell for the first time in months. Not the angry rain that tears roofs apart. Gentle rain. Patient rain. It soaked the earth evenly, as though apologizing for having stayed away so long. Crops drank deeply. The air smelled clean again. In the forest, the masquerades watched. He paid the price, said the one with the sorrowful mask. Not fully, another replied. He still breathes. Yes, the sorrowful one said. But he will never be the same. Obinna slept for 7 days. When he woke, the village gathered quietly outside his mother's hut. He opened his eyes slowly, as though returning from a long journey. His body felt heavy, rooted. Every breath tasted of earth and rain. Mwanioma sat beside him, her face lined with exhaustion and pride. You came back, she whispered. Obinna tried to speak. His voice came out rough. I stayed, he said. Long enough. Word spread quickly. The feeder's mansion was pulled down stone by stone. Beneath it, the villagers uncovered the pit of bones. They wept when they recognized bracelets, teeth, pieces of cloth. People who had vanished without farewell. The elders slaughtered goats and offered cleansing sacrifices to Allah and the ancestors. They scrubbed the square until the earth bled red again. They burned the corrupted masquerades' remains far from the village, and the smoke rose straight into the sky. Guilt settled heavy. No one denied it. They had wanted the gifts. They had enjoyed the money. They had ignored the fear gnawing at their dreams. And a hunter had paid for their silence. When Obinna finally stood again, the village bowed. Not in worship. In acknowledgement. "You saved us," Matsi Okafor said, his voice breaking. "Tell us what to do." Obinna shook his head slowly. "I did not save you," he replied. "I showed you." They waited. "You must remember," Obinna said. "Not my name. What it cost to forget yourselves." He touched his chest. Beneath his fingers, the scars ached faintly. "I will hunt no more," he added. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "The forest has claimed that part of me," he continued. "I belong to it now." That night, Obinna walked to the edge of the village. The forest opened without resistance. The masquerades emerged one final time. "You chose well," the sorrowful mask said. "Did I?" Obinna asked quietly. The spirit inclined its head. "You chose truth over comfort. That is all balance ever asks." "What will become of me?" Obinna asked. "You will walk between," the spirit replied. "Not living as others do. Not dead as we are." Obinna nodded. He had known. At dawn, the villagers found his hut empty. No footprints led away. Only a single feather lay at the threshold, black and white intertwined. Years passed. Umuagu prospered, slowly and honestly. Children grew old enough to bury their parents. Harvests came and went. No sudden riches. No unexplained disappearances. Sometimes, hunters spoke of a man seen deep in the forest. Tall. Quiet. Watching. Animals never fled from him. Lost travelers found their way home after dreaming of a calm voice guiding them. And when elders told the story, they did not end with the feeder's fall. They ended with the hunter. The man who saw too much. The man who gave enough. The man who proved that courage, once chosen, never truly dies. Thank you so much for watching this interesting and incredible story. Do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to this channel.